Shadowing technique in learning English. Ever wondered how native speakers make English sound so effortless? Discover the secret they use and learn how you can sound just like them with our step-by-step shadowing method. Welcome to MediaDeem's latest audiobook, where we unlock the secrets to mastering English fluency using one of the most effective techniques out there, the shadowing technique. Whether you're a beginner eager to improve your pronunciation or an advanced learner aiming for native-like fluency, this guide is designed just for you. Focus points. What shadowing is, understand the basics of the shadowing technique, and why it's a game-changer for language learners. Effective practice strategies. Learn how to choose the right materials and incorporate shadowing into your daily routine. Overcoming challenges. Get tips on how to tackle common difficulties and stay motivated. Real-life application. See how shadowing can improve your speaking, listening, and comprehension skills in real-world scenarios. What you will learn. Fluent pronunciation. Master the natural rhythm and intonation of native speakers. Enhanced listening skills. Sharpen your ability to understand different accents and speeds. Increased confidence. Speak more fluently and confidently by bridging the gap between listening and speaking. Solidified vocabulary and grammar. Reinforce your understanding of English sentence structures and vocabulary through regular practice. Dive in and transform your English skills with the power of shadowing. Focus point 1. What shadowing is? The shadowing technique, rooted in language acquisition research, is a dynamic method for mastering spoken English by mimicking native speakers in real time. Developed by language educator Alexander Argels, shadowing involves repeating speech immediately as you hear it, closely imitating the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. At its core, shadowing leverages the principles of active listening and reproductive practice. Active listening engages your auditory processing systems to decode the language, while reproductive practice ensures that you physically produce the sounds as you hear them. This process accelerates the internalization of language patterns and improves pronunciation. Research supports the efficacy of shadowing in enhancing language proficiency. A study by Dr. Robert J. Vanderplank highlights how repetitive exposure to native speech patterns through shadowing significantly improves pronunciation and intonation among language learners. Additionally, the theory of automaticity, proposed by cognitive psychologist John R. Anderson, suggests that repetitive practice leads to automatic and effortless performance of complex tasks, such as speaking a new language. For instance, in a practical application, learners might shadow a podcast episode. By doing so, they can immediately replicate the host's pronunciation and rhythm, reinforcing their understanding of how certain phrases and sentences are constructed. This hands-on approach contrasts with more passive methods like simple listening or reading, which might not engage the speech production mechanisms as effectively. Proven experiments further validate the technique. In a study published in the Journal of Second Language Pronunciation, participants who engaged in shadowing showed notable improvements in their accent and fluency compared to those who only practiced through traditional methods. The study's findings align with the idea that imitating native speakers in real time helps learners develop a more natural and fluent speech pattern. To make the most out of shadowing, consider the following recommendations. Choose clear and slow speech. Start with material that has clear pronunciation and a slower pace to ease into the technique. Gradually increase complexity. As you gain confidence, move on to more complex and faster-paced materials. Focus on intonation and rhythm. Pay close attention to how native speakers use intonation and rhythm to convey meaning. Practice regularly. Consistency is key. Integrate shadowing into your daily routine for steady improvement. Record and compare. Record yourself while shadowing and compare your speech with the original to identify areas for improvement. By engaging with the shadowing technique, you are not just learning English, you are immersing yourself in its natural flow and cadence, making your language learning journey more effective and enjoyable. Focus point 2. Effective practice strategies. To harness the full potential of the shadowing technique, it's crucial to employ effective practice strategies that optimize learning outcomes. Effective practice not only involves repetition but also the strategic selection of materials and techniques that align with your language proficiency and goals. Start by selecting appropriate materials. For beginners, simpler and slower audio content such as children's stories or beginner-level podcasts are ideal. As proficiency increases, transition to more complex materials like news broadcasts, academic lectures, or professional discussions. This gradual increase in complexity ensures that your practice remains challenging but manageable. Research underscores the importance of material selection in language learning. According to a study published in the Language Learning and Technology Journal, learners who used content tailored to their proficiency levels demonstrated greater improvements in language skills compared to those who used content that was too advanced or too simplistic. Incorporate repetition and variation into your practice routine. Repetition solidifies learning by reinforcing neural pathways related to language processing. Varying your materials and topics, however, prevents monotony and ensures exposure to a broad range of vocabulary and grammatical structures. Cognitive science supports this approach through the concept of interleaved practice, which suggests that mixing different types of practice enhances learning by promoting deeper understanding and retention. Effective shadowing also involves focusing on intonation and rhythm. Pay attention to how native speakers use pitch, stress, and pause to convey meaning. For instance, in English, rising intonation at the end of a sentence often indicates a question, while falling intonation typically signals a statement. Mastering these nuances can greatly enhance your ability to communicate naturally and effectively. A practical strategy to enhance your shadowing practice is mirroring. After listening to a segment, repeat it aloud while recording yourself. Compare your recording to the original audio to identify discrepancies in pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This method provides immediate feedback and helps you adjust your practice accordingly. Furthermore, incorporate contextual practice. Shadowing isn't just about mimicking sounds, it's about understanding and using language in context. Engage with materials that are relevant to your interests or professional field to make practice more engaging and applicable to real-life situations. To maximize the benefits of shadowing, follow these recommendations. Start with suitable materials. Choose content that matches your current level and gradually progress to more challenging material. Mix repetition with variation. Repeat segments to build familiarity but vary topics and speakers to broaden your exposure. Focus on intonation and rhythm. Pay attention to how native speakers use pitch and stress to enhance your communicative effectiveness. Use mirroring. Record yourself shadowing and compare it with the original to refine your pronunciation and fluency. Practice in context. Select materials related to your interests or needs to make practice more relevant and engaging. By employing these strategies, you can ensure that your shadowing practice is both effective and efficient, leading to significant improvements in your English language skills. Focus point 3: Overcoming challenges. The shadowing technique, while highly effective, can present several challenges that learners need to address to make the most of this method. Understanding and overcoming these challenges can significantly enhance your learning experience and outcomes. One common challenge is difficulty in keeping up with the audio. This is particularly true for beginners who might struggle with the speed or complexity of the material. The cognitive load theory explains this phenomenon. It suggests that our working memory has limited capacity, and processing rapid or complex input can exceed this capacity, making it hard to keep pace. To address this, start with slower-paced materials. For instance, children's audiobooks or slow-paced podcasts can provide a manageable introduction. Gradually increase the speed as your skills improve. This approach aligns with the scaffolding technique in education, where learners are provided with initial support that is gradually removed as they gain competence. Another challenge is maintaining focus and motivation. Shadowing requires sustained concentration, which can be draining over time. The theory of flow, developed by psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, emphasizes the importance of engaging in tasks that are both challenging and enjoyable to maintain motivation. To create a flow state, ensure that your shadowing sessions are engaging and that you are consistently challenged without feeling overwhelmed. Incorporating short, focused practice sessions can be effective. Research from the Journal of Educational Psychology suggests that brief, intense practice sessions can be more effective than longer, less focused ones. For example, practicing shadowing for 10 to 15 minutes several times a day can be more beneficial than a single long session. Variety in practice materials can also help maintain motivation. By alternating between different types of content, such as interviews, debates, and dramatic readings, you keep the practice fresh and engaging. This approach prevents the monotony that can lead to disengagement and ensures exposure to a diverse range of language uses and accents. Additionally, many learners face frustration with pronunciation accuracy. This can be particularly challenging when the learner's native language has different phonetic structures compared to English. The theory of perceptual learning, proposed by psychologist John L. Locke, suggests that repeated exposure and practice can help in tuning perceptual systems to recognize and produce new sounds. To address pronunciation issues, record and review your shadowing practice. Compare your recordings with native speakers and identify specific areas for improvement. Use language learning tools or apps that offer pronunciation feedback to guide your practice. For overcoming these challenges, consider the following recommendations. Start with slower materials. Choose content that matches your current ability and gradually increase complexity. Use short, focused sessions. Practice in brief, intense bursts to improve retention and maintain motivation. Incorporate varied materials. Engage with a variety of content types to keep practice engaging and expose yourself to different language uses. Record and compare. Regularly record your practice and compare it with native speakers to refine your pronunciation. Seek feedback. Utilize language learning tools and apps for additional pronunciation and fluency feedback. By addressing these challenges with targeted strategies, you can make your shadowing practice more effective and enjoyable, leading to greater improvements in your English language skills. Focus point 4: Real-life application. The shadowing technique not only enhances language proficiency but also has significant implications for real-life communication. The true value of shadowing becomes apparent when you apply it to everyday situations, making the skills you develop both practical and effective. Incorporating shadowing into your practice helps you internalize natural speech patterns. For instance, when you shadow a native speaker's conversation, you mimic their sentence structure, rhythm, and intonation. This practice can be directly applied to real-life scenarios, such as participating in meetings, giving presentations, or engaging in casual conversations. Understanding and replicating these patterns helps you sound more natural and fluent in various contexts. Research from the Journal of Language and Social Psychology highlights that language learners who practice real-life communication scenarios through shadowing demonstrate improved conversational skills. The study reveals that learners who engage in shadowing are better at understanding and using conversational cues, which are essential for effective communication. Another aspect of real-life application is improving listening comprehension. Shadowing trains your ear to recognize and process rapid and nuanced speech. This skill is invaluable in real-world interactions where speakers often talk quickly, use idiomatic expressions, or have different accents. The theory of listening for gist, proposed by cognitive linguist Michael Long, suggests that focusing on the overall meaning of spoken language rather than individual words enhances comprehension in natural settings. Furthermore, shadowing helps you adapt to various accents and dialects. Exposure to different speakers through shadowing can familiarize you with regional variations in pronunciation and vocabulary. This adaptability is crucial in multicultural environments where you may encounter diverse English speakers with different accents. Studies in sociolinguistics support this, showing that exposure to multiple accents improves a learner's ability to understand and engage with speakers from various backgrounds. For professional settings, shadowing can improve your presentation and public speaking skills. Practicing with professional speeches or business presentations helps you master the appropriate tone, pace, and language for formal contexts. Research in communication studies suggests that effective shadowing practice can lead to more persuasive and confident public speaking. To effectively apply shadowing in real-life scenarios, consider the following recommendations. Integrate shadowing into daily conversations. Apply the skills learned through shadowing in everyday interactions to reinforce natural language use. Practice with varied accents. Expose yourself to different English accents to improve your adaptability and comprehension in diverse settings. Use shadowing for professional skills. Shadow professional content to enhance your presentation and public speaking abilities. Focus on listening comprehension. Train your listening skills to better understand rapid or nuanced speech in real-life situations. Apply language patterns in context. Use the natural speech patterns learned from shadowing in practical scenarios like meetings, interviews, or social gatherings. By effectively applying the shadowing technique to real-life situations, you can enhance your ability to communicate fluently and confidently in various contexts, making your language skills more practical and impactful. Steps of shadowing. Choose your material. Select an audio clip that matches your current level of proficiency. Beginners might start with simpler content like children's stories or beginner podcasts, while advanced learners can opt for news broadcasts or speeches. For instance, if you're a beginner, you might choose a slow-paced children's audiobook. For more advanced practice, you might select a TED Talk. Listen carefully, play the audio, and listen attentively to the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. Pay attention to how they stress certain words, their pace, and their overall tone. For example, listen to a short news segment and note how the speaker emphasizes important points and modulates their voice. Immediately start repeating what you hear in real time, trying to match the speaker's pronunciation and rhythm as closely as possible. Initially, you might need to pause and repeat shorter sections. For example, listen to a sentence from a podcast, then repeat it aloud while mimicking the speaker's tone and pace. Record yourself. Record your shadowing practice to review your pronunciation and intonation. Compare your recording with the original audio to identify any discrepancies. For example, record yourself repeating a segment from a movie scene, and then compare it with the original audio to check for differences in pronunciation or intonation. Analyze and adjust. Listen to the recording and note areas where your pronunciation or rhythm differs from the original. Adjust your practice based on these observations. For instance, if you notice that you're not matching the speaker's intonation, focus on practicing that particular aspect in your next session. Gradually increase complexity as you become more comfortable with the technique. Gradually move to more complex materials. Start incorporating different accents, faster speech, and varied content types. For example, after mastering a children's story, you might move on to shadowing a podcast with multiple speakers or a radio interview. Incorporate regular practice. Consistency is key. Integrate shadowing into your daily routine to steadily improve your skills. Aim for short, focused sessions each day rather than occasional long practices. For instance, dedicate 10 to 15 minutes each morning to shadowing a segment of a news broadcast. Examples of shadowing in practice. Beginner level. Shadowing a children's story where you repeat sentences like, "The cat sat on the mat" immediately after hearing them, focusing on mimicking the simple vocabulary and clear pronunciation. Intermediate level. Shadowing a podcast episode such as a travel guide where you repeat phrases and sentences about travel tips, focusing on capturing the speaker's natural flow and inflection. Advanced level. Shadowing a TED Talk on a complex topic where you repeat parts of the speaker's arguments and observations, concentrating on understanding and replicating sophisticated language patterns and nuances. By following these steps and incorporating the provided examples into your practice, you can effectively utilize the shadowing technique to enhance your language skills and achieve greater fluency in English. Benefits of shadowing. Enhanced pronunciation and intonation. Shadowing helps improve your pronunciation by allowing you to mimic native speakers' articulation, stress patterns, and intonation. This practice helps you sound more natural and accurate when speaking. Example: if you shadow a podcast where the host speaks clearly and emphasizes certain words for effect, you'll learn to reproduce those emphasis patterns, leading to clearer and more expressive speech in your own conversations. Improved listening comprehension. By shadowing, you train your ear to understand and process spoken language more effectively. This includes recognizing different accents, speech speeds, and nuances in conversation. Example: shadowing a news report helps you become accustomed to the rapid pace and formal tone used in broadcast English, improving your ability to follow along in real-life news broadcasts or similar contexts. Increased speaking fluency. Shadowing accelerates your ability to speak fluently by repeatedly practicing speaking in real time. This reduces hesitation and builds your confidence in spontaneous speech. Example: repeatedly shadowing a dialogue from a TV show allows you to practice speaking naturally and smoothly, which can translate into more fluid and confident speaking during actual conversations. Better understanding of natural language patterns. Shadowing exposes you to natural language usage, including idiomatic expressions, colloquialisms, and varied sentence structures. This helps you understand and use language as it is commonly spoken by native speakers. Example: shadowing a movie scene introduces you to conversational phrases and slang used in everyday speech, making your language use more authentic and relatable. Enhanced memory retention. The active involvement in repeating and mimicking spoken language helps reinforce vocabulary and grammatical structures, leading to better retention and recall. Example: if you shadow a TED Talk on a specific topic, you not only learn the content but also reinforce related vocabulary. As we conclude this audiobook on the shadowing technique, let's recap the valuable insights we've explored. Firstly, we delved into what shadowing is, a dynamic practice method where you imitate native speakers in real time to enhance pronunciation, rhythm, and overall fluency. By engaging closely with spoken language, you can internalize natural speech patterns and sound more authentic. We then discussed effective practice strategies, emphasizing the importance of selecting appropriate materials, maintaining focus, and gradually increasing the complexity of your practice. Consistency and variety in your practice are key to making steady progress. Next, we addressed overcoming challenges such as keeping pace with rapid speech and maintaining motivation. Using tools like recording yourself and focusing on short, frequent practice sessions can help you manage these obstacles and stay engaged. In our final focus, we explored real-life applications of shadowing. By applying shadowing to everyday conversations and professional settings, you can improve your practical communication skills, adapt to various accents, and enhance your listening comprehension. To make the most of the shadowing technique, here are a few recommendations. Choose materials appropriate for your level and gradually increase the complexity. Practice regularly in short, focused sessions to build fluency and confidence. Record and review your practice to identify and correct pronunciation and intonation issues. Incorporate a variety of content to keep your practice engaging and expose yourself to different language uses. Apply what you've learned in real-life contexts to enhance your practical communication skills. Thank you for joining us on this journey to mastering English with the shadowing technique. Your support is greatly appreciated, and if you found this audiobook helpful, please like and subscribe to the MediaDeem channel. Remember, listening is crucial to improving your English. The more you listen, the better you speak. Keep practicing, stay engaged, and continue your journey to English fluency.